In the summer of 1947, something fell from the sky over a remote ranch in New Mexico. What happened next would ignite a firestorm of controversy that still burns today. This is the story of Roswell, but not the one you think you know. We're going beyond the headlines, beyond the official reports, and into the shadows where the real questions lie. The official story is simple enough. On July 8, 1947, the Roswell Army Airfield issued a press release stating they had recovered a flying disc. The world's media exploded, but just 24 hours later, the military changed its story. It wasn't a flying disc, they claimed. It was just a weather balloon. The initial press release was a mistake, an embarrassing overreaction by a local public information officer. Case closed. But was it? Let's look closer at the sequence of events. First, a local rancher, Mac Brazel, finds a field littered with strange debris. It's not paper, not wood, not metal as he knows it. He describes lightweight beams with hieroglyphic-like markings and pieces of foil-like material that, when crumpled, would instantly smooth itself out. This doesn't sound like any weather balloon material from 1947. Brazel takes some pieces to the local sheriff, who then contacts the Roswell Army Airfield. Major Jesse Marcel, the base's intelligence officer, is sent to investigate. Marcel, a decorated officer who had served in the Pacific Theater, was no fool. He personally examined the debris, later stating on record, "It was something I had never seen before. It was not of this earth." He loaded his car with the material and returned to base. It was on his authority that the flying disc press release was issued. Then came the retraction. General Roger Ramey held a press conference in Fort Worth, displaying what he claimed was the actual debris. But here's the first major inconsistency. The material in those photos looks nothing like what Mac Brazel or Major Marcel described. It looks exactly like a standard weather balloon. Many witnesses, including Marcel himself, later claimed the debris was switched. They were ordered to pose with the balloon wreckage, and to never speak of what they truly saw. Why the elaborate cover-up for a simple mistake? A weather balloon is hardly a matter of national security. The official explanation for the Roswell incident evolved over the decades. In the 1990s, the Air Force released a new report, admitting it wasn't a standard weather balloon after all. It was, they now claimed, a top-secret high-altitude balloon array from Project Mogul, designed to detect Soviet nuclear tests. This explains the unusual materials and the secrecy. It's a neat package. But does it fit all the facts? Project Mogul was real, but the timelines are problematic. Furthermore, this explanation conveniently ignores the most startling testimonies, those of eyewitnesses who claim to have seen not just debris, but bodies. People like Glenn Dennis, a local mortician, who claimed he received a call from the Roswell base asking about child-sized, hermetically sealed caskets. Or the multiple accounts from military personnel and civilians who described seeing small, non-human bodies being recovered from a second crash site. The Air Force dismisses these accounts as embellished memories or hoaxes. But the sheer number of first-hand and second-hand witnesses, many of them respected members of the community and military officers with nothing to gain, makes a blanket dismissal feel incomplete. This leads us beyond the official narrative and into the realm of deeper, more unsettling possibilities. Let's propose our first hypothesis, one that doesn't involve little green men. What if the object that crashed at Roswell was not extraterrestrial, but a highly advanced, experimental Soviet reconnaissance craft? Think about the context. 1947. The Cold War is just beginning. The United States and the Soviet Union are locked in a tense battle for technological supremacy. The Soviets had captured German rocket scientists after World War II, just as we had with Operation Paperclip. Imagine a radical, unmanned Soviet drone, perhaps based on captured Horton wing designs, sent to probe American air defenses and nuclear capabilities at nearby sites like White Sands. A crash of this nature would be a national security nightmare of the highest order. Admitting we'd been spied on by a technologically superior Soviet craft would have caused mass panic and handed a massive propaganda victory to Moscow. What's the best way to hide a terrestrial secret? bury it under an even more unbelievable one. You create a simple, slightly embarrassing cover story, a weather balloon, and then you quietly let the UFO rumors fester. The UFO narrative becomes the perfect smokescreen, distracting everyone from the deeply alarming truth of a Cold War security breach. This explains the intense military lockdown and the pre-bodies, which could have been advanced anthropomorphic test dummies far beyond what the public knew was possible. Now let's explore a second, even more audacious hypothesis. This one centers on the timing and location. The crash happened near the 33rd parallel north, a line of latitude that connects not only Roswell, but also the site of the world's first atomic bomb test at Trinity, and another major UFO incident in Nagasaki, Japan, just before the atomic bomb was dropped there. Coincidence? Perhaps. But what if the crash wasn't an accident at all? What if it was a deliberate act, a warning? Let's consider the craft not as a vehicle for biological beings, but as an autonomous, self-replicating probe, a von Neumann probe, sent out eons ago to explore the galaxy. Such a probe wouldn't crash due to mechanical failure. Its purpose would be observation and, if necessary, intervention. In 1947, humanity had just crossed a terrifying threshold. We had unlocked the power of the atom. We had demonstrated the ability to destroy ourselves on a planetary scale. For a galactic intelligence, whether biological or artificial, this would be a major red flag. What if the Roswell event was a shot across the bow? A controlled, non-hostile demonstration of superior technology, designed to be discovered. The probe sacrifices itself, leaving behind materials impossible to replicate, but undeniable in their advanced nature. The message is clear. We are here. We are watching. And we see the dangerous path you are on. The bodies in this scenario could be biological constructs, part of the probe's payload, designed to ensure we understood this was a message from a living intelligence, not just a random piece of space junk. The secrecy, then, wasn't just to prevent panic, but because the world's leaders suddenly had to grapple with an existential reality they were completely unprepared for. Finally, let's entertain our third and most provocative theory. Let's assume the official story, Project Mogul, is partially true. There was a secret project. But what if Project Mogul itself was a cover story for something far stranger? What if the U.S. government was already in possession of exotic technology, perhaps recovered earlier, and was attempting to reverse engineer it? This theory suggests Roswell was a man-made UFO crash, our own failed test of a craft based on non-terrestrial principles. This would explain everything. The strange materials? Our attempts to replicate them. The secrecy? Absolute, because you've just lost your most valuable technological secret in a farmer's field. The two different stories, balloon and disc? You're improvising. You first admit what you think you can contain, a disc, before realizing the full scope of the breach and reverting to the much safer weather balloon. Lie. This also reframes Major Jesse Marcel's role. His famous quote, "It was not of this earth," takes on a new meaning. He wasn't necessarily saying it came from Mars. He was saying its technology was not of this earth, which would be true if it was based on recovered alien science. The bodies could have been biological pilots, not aliens, but human test pilots subjected to extreme and unknown forces from this new technology, leaving them tragically altered. The cover-up then becomes the most critical operation in modern history, hiding the fact that humanity's greatest technological leap came not from our own innovation, but from a source we cannot and must not reveal. So what really fell on that New Mexico ranch in 1947? A weather balloon? A Soviet spy drone? A galactic warning shot? Or the wreckage of our own most dangerous secret? The truth of Roswell isn't a simple answer. It's a web of conflicting testimonies, shifting official narratives, and tantalizing clues. The one thing that seems certain is that the simple weather balloon story doesn't hold up under scrutiny. The event was a catalyst, a moment that forced a powerful government to react with extreme secrecy and decades of misdirection. Why? That remains the ultimate question. The debris may have been cleared away, but the mystery remains, embedded in the desert sand. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. What do you think happened at Roswell? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoy questioning the official story, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more investigations into the unknown.